Hi, guys, and welcome to Reality with T. Thank you for joining me for our first 90 Day Fiancé review. Watching 90 Day Fiancé is a hobby of mine. I have a job that is pretty demanding and it can get pretty dark sometimes. So, watching 90 Day Fiancé is so mindless for me and it helps me to just kind of zone out, and I think it's absolutely hilarious. So I'm not going to spend too much time going over all of my background stuff um, because this is going to be a little bit of a longer review. I do have to, because I'm starting in the middle of the season, I will be giving some of my opinion on some of the stories from previous episodes because I feel like I just didn't get to talk about it. So because I'm starting now, so I kind of want to use that as to lead with where we're going tonight. So I hope that you join me every week. We're going to review Actual Tea, and we're going to review some of our 90 Day Fiance shows, Married at First Sight, and any other shows you see fit. I also like crime shows also. So when Evil Lives Here comes back on, or maybe I'll just review some old shows. We're going to talk about those too, okay? If you have a favorite tea that you like to drink, just write it down in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. So today, we're going to start off. Okay, let me just give you a pretense here. I'm in the Bronx. The heat index today was 110 degrees. So I do not have hot tea. Okay, today I have, because I had to do this very quickly, I have two kids and they're asleep, so I'll probably only have a few minutes to do this. I went and I mixed the good old school powdered iced tea, and it's not cold. I don't have any ice cubes in here. Iced tea, and not Nestle, the Bogopa brand. And if you are from the Bronx, you know what I'm talking about. You go to Food Bazaar and they have their own brand of foods and everything else. So this is what we have for tonight. So cheers to warm iced tea on a hot summer day. Okay, so let's get started. So today we're going to review 90 Day Fiancé Happily Ever After. So this is the episode where we have, I'll start with Libby and Andre because they are a hot mess. And this was a long episode, and they were on this episode pretty much the whole time. And then they have a lot of ups and downs. I think it's funny that last week Libby decided to come to, I don't know, a click in her senses, like very briefly, and say, I don't know what's going on with Andre. It seems like he's chauvinistic and he's being this way because we're in his country. Honey, he's been this way for years since we met him. And now because he's in his country and he has you on his home turf, he is feeling himself. And honestly, after tonight, I'm scared for Libby. There's something going on in that household that we don't see when the cameras are gone. And to me, it seems like she is afraid of him. And I would be afraid of him. I wouldn't be around for that. But whatever. She's riding this wave for whatever reason because he doesn't bring anything to the table. So we're just going to see how this goes. All right. So we start off, we ended last week with Libby and Andre in Moldova, and they said that they were going to look for wedding venues. So we start out with them this week. They're taking the dad and the daughter. They're going around to wedding venues. And first he takes her to a casino. And I'm looking like, okay, this looks really shifty. And she was looking at it too, like, okay, no, this isn't going to work. But whatever, I'll go with it. I'll do whatever. So they go in. And this place, it doesn't look horrible, but it looks, I mean, it's kind of cheap. And the people say, oh, the chefs are off today, so we're going to show you pictures of the food, which is ridiculous. Like, nobody is going to pay as much money as they want for weddings and not even sample the food. So they show them pictures, and it's just a hot mess, and she's a little upset, like, okay, whatever. So they start, getting into it. They're talking to production. She's trying to talk to production. He cuts her off 2 or 3 times, and she's at one point like, well, let me finish my thoughts. And they're going back and forth. He's like, well, finish your thoughts, and she can't. So she just ends up walking away. Now, what I noticed was that she did a slow walk away. Okay, she's trying to leave the situation, and there are cameras there, so I guess she feels somewhat safe. But to me, it makes it seem as if she is actually afraid of him, like that if the cameras were not there, he would do something. So it's like she's trying to walk away to kind of show face, save a little bit of dignity, but she walked away slow, because it was almost like if I, am too showy with my confidence right now, he is going to knock me down. And that scared me. The look that he gave her and the way that she responded, the whole thing is just unhealthy to me. And I'm still trying to figure out, why is she still with this man? There's nothing likable, soft, cuddly, sweet about him. So what is he bringing to the table? I would leave him right in Moldova. He's not working. You're paying for everything that he does. Well, your father's paying for everything he does. It's already embarrassing. The father, that's a whole nother issue, because I don't understand why he keeps footing the bill for everything that she wants. Okay, she's the youngest child, but you have a whole husband. Like, why is he doing nothing? And just because you decide a month in advance to get married in a whole different country and then demand the whole family to be there in a month is ridiculous. So no, I would not be giving you any money for that. And I probably wouldn't have even showed up in Moldova, because they don't even like Andre, and they know something that we don't know. So also, okay, so they went to the second venue now. Then the second venue was very nice. They were able to test the food. They're in a better mood. I don't know if you noticed, but at one point, he slapped her hand away. She tried to kind of touch him, I guess, touch his side, kind of rub his back type of thing, and he kind of slapped her hand away. But you probably have to rewind it and look at it very carefully. This is when they were tasting the food at the table. They start dancing. It seems like they're having a good time. They're kind of laughing and giggling. So I guess, the mood is kind of lifted now that they found the venue that they like. But not so fast. I was like, okay, maybe they have a little something there, but I still don't like him. All right. So then they take Andre and his mother and father now, take her to his old neighborhood, which I think is nice. Most people do this when they're in a relationship. I want you to see where I grew up. Now the kid is here. I want the kids to, I want to kind of bring my kids to where, to my childhood home and see the way that I grew up. And, you can tell that it wasn't, it was a playground, it wasn't the best. Maybe he had a hard upbringing, but we don't know, because this is not America, so our standards are different, which Libby keeps bringing up, but I'm gonna get to in a second. They have swings, they have a slide or two, maybe a seesaw. He's joking. This is where I used to run around. We used to run around breaking windows. Ha ha ha, I'm just kidding. No, you're not kidding. We know good and well you was a ridiculous little boy, and you was running around there causing mischief and trouble, and you gave your parents hell, and because that's the kind of adult that you turned out to be. But whatever, you say you're joking, right? So, Libby's looking around like, oh, this looks like a really old playground, and this is nice, but, I'm thinking about germs for the baby. Okay, first of all, we're going to get to the standards in a minute. The baby is not walking, okay? You're obviously going to be holding the baby. You sit on a swing, you're going to be holding the baby. What germs? You're not having the baby touch anything. Why are you just trying to, it's almost like she and her family are trying to crap on everything Moldova, everything having to do with Andre, anything that's below their standards, so as Libby has been saying the whole trip. So basically, every venue they went to, Libby kept bringing up, oh, I have to taste the food, because when my family comes, I want to make sure that they like it. They might not like it. It might not be up to their standards. This venue isn't up to my family standards. They might not like the food. I want to make sure they're comfortable, this and that. I don't know about you, but when I go to a wedding, and I have been to, different weddings that were based in different nationalities, I'm open to what they have. I did not buy the food. I'm a guest. This is what, a 4 to 6 hour event. I can eat there, or I can not. I can go get a burger later. Like, who cares? It's about the person whose wedding it is. This is the food that they chose. So who are you to say? So it's not even her, it shouldn't even be whether her family is, if they like this or that or whatever. First of all, almost every culture has chicken and rice, okay? So if you don't like whatever other exotic foods they have, eat the chicken and the rice, okay? Like, it's not that serious. If they don't like the food, they will be all right. They're not going to keel over, okay? It's a wedding. This is only a one-day event, and you're going to a new country. You need to be open to accept new things. You're not supposed to go all the way over to Moldova and expect to have hamburger and fries at a wedding. Okay, so that is what kind of pissed me off about Libby, because it's like you're traveling somewhere else. And then what I realized is that a lot of the Americans on this show, and in general, because I'll also get to Colt's mother, okay, they're just not travelers. When you're traveling to a new country, the whole point to me, and I have traveled, is to see how other people live and see what they eat, how they eat, try to absorb the culture that is not ours. Okay, in America we are not really cultured. In other places they have different religions. As Libby got baptized while she was there, they have different food, they have a different language. So why is it, and I do commend Libby for picking up the bit of Moldovan that she does know, because she seems to know a little bit more than she lets on. um why is it that they're not open to, whatever is going to be offered to them? And if you don't like it, you don't like it, and I don't want to hear you complain about it, because it's my wedding. So I agree with Andre on that. There were times in this episode where Andre's parents, asked about her family, and though I don't agree with the way Andre is delivering his response to the parents, if they don't like it, they can go. He just has a rude way about him. I agree. They don't have to. This is not for them. This is for Andre and Libby and the baby, and for his Moldovan family. They already had a wedding in America. So if this is not up to your standards, if this is not fun enough for you, or safe enough for you, or whatever enough for you, then go somewhere, because nobody wants to hear that. I understand that. Andre has been here 3 or 4 years and has not seen his family. So this is my time to be with my family, and I don't want to hear you yapping on the side because you come from wherever, West Palm Beach, Florida, and you don't know how to leave your little compound, with all of your little whatever they have in there. You know what I mean? You're in a different country. Suck it up. It's okay. So then we go to, and I could be jumping around because I am very disorganized in real life, and this is my first time doing this. So I'm just kind of like, I have some notes and I'm trying to just think of things and kind of piece it together. Okay, so bear with me. They have dinner with the brother-in-law and the sister-in-law, or whoever's in-law, right? That's Andre's brother. And they're starting out first, they kind of jump on her about not wearing, she was baptized in the Orthodox church, Christian Orthodox church or something like that, right? It was this whole big routine, whatever. And I don't see a problem with that because they're Christian. And I also don't see a problem with, because I think that all religions, we all, worship the same God, just in different ways. So guess what? If you're going to give me more blessings from the mosque, or, from wherever they were, the priest is going to give me blessings, or the wherever, just give me blessings from wherever it comes from, Buddha, whoever, I'll take it. It doesn't matter how you give it to me, just give it to me. So they're at the dinner, and they kind of start jumping on her. The sister-in-law, I don't even know who you are, is like, oh, well, where's your cross? And she's like, okay, they gave it to me today, but I left it at the house. Nobody told her that apparently you're supposed to wear the cross at all times. Okay. The person who was supposed to tell her was Andre, but it probably slipped his mind too. There's a lot going on. Whatever. They made this whole big deal about her not wearing the cross, and Andre, oh, he decided to pull up his pants, and I have to tell her what she has to do, and and even then the woman is like, oh, well, why didn't you ask him? It's your job to ask him. First of all, I had to wear a scarf, I had to do this, I had to jump in water, I had to blow 3 times, I had to do all these different things to be baptized. Why of all things am I going to randomly ask, when do I wear the cross? I have it. Like, I just didn't get why. And I don't, and she said that, she was actually going back and forth with him a little bit, like, you didn't communicate this with me. But she said, all right, let me chill out, because I don't want to embarrass him. Because then they start talking about, oh, the man is the head. And then Andre starts, because he likes to manipulate during translation. He starts talking about, oh, Libby has decided to work, and she wants me to stay home. She convinced me of this. No. She would like you to work. She works for her father, so her father is footing the bill for both of you. Okay, you're lying. She did not convince you of anything. She wants you to work, and I'm sure she wouldn't mind being a stay-at-home mom, because I think that's what her sisters do. Okay, because they all have rich husbands, from what they said. So I didn't like that whole dinner thing, because number one, you guys are back and forth between 2 languages, and you're jumping on her. And it reminded me of Annie and Robert when Annie was at the table with his brother, and he started talking about you could be a prostitute and this and that. I just don't like when everybody is jumping on one person and she has nobody to defend her or be on her side, especially in a different country. Like, I don't even have the Wi-Fi or the bandwidth to even walk out the restaurant and call somebody and be like, let me tell you what just happened. I can't call a cab. I don't know where the hell I am. I can't get back to my home. Like, I don't like this. Okay, so don't start with me. Okay, I don't ever want to eat with y'all again. And that's how I would have left it. Like, I'm done. Okay. And then the sister, the last thing that I wrote about this, the sister's up here talking about, oh, maybe she needs to read a book on the roles that a wife should play. Like, I don't know, maybe the whole male dominant thing is prevalent over there. But regardless, Andre is extreme. And I don't know where he gets it from, because his dad doesn't appear to be that way with the mom. And the brother, maybe, but I didn't see him being rude with his wife the same way that Andre is. So it would be interesting to know, I want to see some people outside of Andre's, inner circle, and see how they interact with their wives and girlfriends and what have you, because there's something wrong with this. Okay, that's it for them. I'm done with them today. I am not going to talk about Larissa, because I think she's stupid. The whole situation is stupid, and they're dragging this storyline because it's supposed to be happily ever after, and her and Colt are not together. So I don't even know why we're still following her. Everything that she is doing now is just cheesy. Okay, they talk about the criminal case. She got back together with Eric. Now her friend kicked her out because her friend probably doesn't even want to deal with the drama. Like, okay, I'm done with this. You know what I'm saying? You're dealing with immigration issues. You're dealing with criminal issues. You dealt with domestic violence issues. Now you're back with this guy for what? And she's up here saying, oh, you need companionship and what have you. And I get it, you do, but you need to chill out. Like, I already have no respect for her, because you're doing all of this cheesy stuff. You don't even have a place to stay, but you won't go home to your kids. Your kids are in Brazil, and I couldn't imagine leaving my kids, but then you left them, and you're not even living a better life here. It's like you're just hopping around from house to house trying to see who could get you plastic surgery. That she asked him, oh, spend money on my boobs. So I'm over her. She's stupid. All right, don't worry. I'm not wasting your time with her. Let's see. I went through all that. Oh, and last thing with Libby and Andre. He started her in the very beginning, because apparently her sisters looked up Moldova and found that it was like this dangerous place, whatever. So they're leaving the car. They're leaving Dad in the car with the baby to go see the first venue. And Libby's like, let's lock the door, for the baby. And he was like, you're being OCD. He kind of jumped on her. And as a mother, I understand, because we are nuts. Especially with that first baby, you start thinking of anything that can happen. So you already in this country, you're like, I don't know what could happen. This whole strip mall casino thing looks shady as hell. Just lock the door. Honestly, I have thought of the craziest things that might, probably never would happen to my kids. But it's our anxiety, and we can't help it. And the fact that, and it would just be helpful if the guy would just say, all right, whatever. But no, here he goes, your OCD. Like, he's just so not supportive. He's awful. I'm done with him. Okay. Now we have Colt and Jess. Let me hop back to the end of the last episode. Colt's mother. So Colt and his mother went down to see Jess. This is all ridiculous also, because he only met up with Jess one time in life, and they're already flying all the way to Brazil to meet her family and the whole thing. Fine. Colt's mother has never been out of the country, so we know she doesn't travel. If she traveled anywhere in the country, not more than 4 or 5 hours, whatever, right? Traveling is hard, okay? For certain people. For me, for example, it does cause me anxiety. The thought of, before I even get there, the packing, do I have everything? Is it too heavy? When you get there, you got to undress, your socks, your this and that, and then you in this cold ass airport. I hate waiting in the airport, and then there might be delays, and then you get on the plane, and then you have to deal with all the anxiety of just flying, and then flying in Brazil for them, because they're down in Las Vegas, it was 15 hours. Mind you, she's never been out the country. This is a lot, okay? Then you got to get out. Then you got to go through their customs. And I don't know what Brazilian customs looks like. But depends on where you are. Sometimes it's a hot mess. You know what I mean? Then you waiting here. You waiting for a cab. So he gets her to this hotel. And mind you, the girlfriend Jess is waiting for them at the airport, I believe. And she's just inappropriate. I don't like her. Why do you keep talking about sex? Why are you bringing up sex and all these inappropriate topics in front of his mother? They say Colt is about 30 years old, and I have a hard time. I cannot picture him as a 30-year-old. I'm picturing him as a 45-year-old, honestly. So it's weird. I'm still trying to figure out the dynamic between him and his mom, because that is weird. But it's inappropriate. Okay? Even at my age, at any age, number one, there was no respect for just meeting the mother in the first place. You're meeting her for the first time and you're already talking about whatever they were saying. We need to have sex. As soon as we get in the room, I can't wait to have sex and kids. Da, 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 da. There was no, I didn't see any concern for the mother. How you doing? This is a mother of a certain age. I'm thinking she must be in maybe her late 60s or something like that. And she's taking this first flight. This is a lot. And she's already cranky. And I know it's hot as hell, right? She says, she tells them first she's already done. Then they have this conversation about the kids. It's mad. That would make me annoyed because it's mad corny. We're in the car going to the hotel. You're being corny. All right. So let me go to sleep. Okay. First of all, you got us one room. That was stupid. Whatever. I don't know what he thought. He thought it was a suite. Whatever. Just let me get in my bed and go to sleep. That's it. I am a little bit on the shy side, especially with parents and people I call adults, even though I'm an adult, but like people who are older than me. So I usually in this situation, especially with traveling, I'm going to stand back. I'm hands off. Okay. Like I'm not going to be all in your face. This girl is like, oh, you're going to lay down. You could sleep later, sleep when you go home. Come on, get up. You got to enjoy Brazil. Are you kidding me? I just got off a 15-hour flight for the first time in my life. I'm however old. Like, this place is hot as hell. Let me sleep. I shouldn't have to argue about the fact that I want to sleep. You should want to hang out with Colt anyway. Okay, get out of my face. I completely understood Debbie. I didn't think that she was rude specifically to her, but she kind of went off. Like, all right, get out of my face. I'm trying to sleep. Because why was the girl was like in her room, in her face, like, I don't even know you. We'll talk tomorrow. I completely understood Debbie. I'm sorry. And I didn't think that it was directed at her. I think she was just upset and grumpy and uncomfortable and wanted to sleep. For some reason, Jess leaves the room and finds that I don't think she likes me. What did I do? She was so rude. Da, 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 the victim. It wasn't even that serious. You shouldn't have been in a lady's face. Like, I really didn't see an issue with the fact that, like, because you were being very pushy and you were in her face for no reason. So this whole thing is Colt, and Colt, it was even like, I don't think it was toward you, the whole thing, da da da. Now Colt, and I'm skipping around because they cut back and forth, whatever. I'm only going through couple by couple. He decides, the next day or whatever, to tell sit with his mother, and she's feeding him, which is weird. That's why I'm like, is this man 30? Like, what is he? This is really weird. But, he's like, I don't think he made a good impression on Jess. And basically kind of talking to her about her behavior toward his girlfriend. And she should not have acted that way. And she said the same thing. Like, I don't need to be told how to act around her. And in my opinion, that girl needs to make an impression on his mother. Like, what are you talking about? Like, this was just all mixed up. And it's almost like he felt like she needed to apologize to her. Like, no, first of all, like, she just shouldn't have been in my face. I'm sorry. That's my opinion on it. And then he also didn't tell Jess really about her behavior with his mom, because there were no boundaries. Like, dude, why are you talking and making noises and this and that about sex so much in front of my mother? I just found it disrespectful. They had no decorum about themselves, and I'm just really not into Jess. I don't know what her motive is, but I don't see it for her at all. Let me see. I think that was all I had on them. Let me go real quick because I'm gonna save. All right, let me do them because they're my favorites. Okay. So we have Asuelo and Kalani. All right. So I'm going to go back on Asuelo as well. Asuelo, in the last couple episodes, to me, he has been very unhappy. Okay. The situation is they are staying in Kalani's parents' house with them. And then they have the 2 kids. Kalani says that she met him in Samoa. And they had a 2-week fling, and she got pregnant, fell in love with him, the whole thing. My opinion, I really don't think that she fell in love with him. I think that because her family, her dad specifically, is the way he is, she was embarrassed and she was pregnant, and the only way that she could not look like a complete fool was to say, I want to marry him, this whole thing, because I don't see it right now. Sorry, guys. So I'm trying to remember where I left off. So basically, I think I was trying to tell you that I try to see both sides of the situation. So, okay, so I'm going to start with Asuelo. He's coming from Samoa. And he got over here, I guess, about a year ago. As soon as he got over here, a year or two ago, as soon as he got over here, he got Kalani pregnant again. And I didn't mean to use that term, got her pregnant. They got pregnant, because that's the term that the family kept throwing against him. Even Kalani, you got me pregnant. The father, you got my daughter pregnant. You need to do this and that. As if she had no part of it. As if he came over and planned to just keep getting her pregnant. I mean, he might have, but she is also in charge of her body. So it was something that both of them did together. But they kept blaming it on him and throwing it in his face, which was weird to me. But Asuelo came over, and since he has been here, he has not, I think he works at like a smoothie stand or something in the mall where he's giving out samples. So he's basically making like minimum wage, not bringing much into the household. Because of this, they have to live with Kalani's parents, which he hates, because as he said to them, is you're always going to have your daughter's back. It's me in here by myself. And he feels ganged up on, and of course doesn't feel like the man of the house, which is how they think where he's from, that the man should be the head of the household or what have you. More on that in a minute. So he has been very just unhappy, because Kalani has been on him. You're not doing enough. You're not being a man. You're not taking care of us. Blah 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 blah. Which is true, but I'm again thinking from his perspective, right? So her father is also the family is overbearing. That's the mother, father, and the sister. And the father is, he tries to be so intimidating. He speaks in like this whispery voice, like, hey, come on, let's talk. He's huge, but he also happens to be from Samoa. So it was interesting that even before he got here, the father had it out for Asuelo. I don't know the father's history, but it seems like he didn't have the best upbringing, because he did not want his daughters to end up with a Samoan. Maybe he knows that the nature just of the folks on the island from that country, that I guess they just live by. And some countries, in some countries and in some cultures, they're not rushing, like in Africa. For example, in the Ivory Coast, I had a coworker that worked there, and she was like, this whole thing about being on time in America is not for us. If you say a party starts at 12, people might not show up until 3 or 4, and it's completely fine. Nobody is rushing to get anywhere. They will get there. When we get there, we'll have a good time. So everybody is different. And so maybe he knows that in Samoa, that people are just, maybe the men, they're kind of lackadaisical, whatever it is. He has sort of an air of superiority about himself, where he's like, I came to America, I worked my butt off, got to where I am, I take care of my family, I have a white woman, we'll get back to that, I take care of my family, and I'm doing so well, and I really don't want any ties to Samoa. So he never gave this man a chance, which was surprising, because I felt like he could have connected with him, being that they speak the same language, they're from the same place, he knows how hard it was. He would try to help him, especially when it comes to taking care of his daughter and grandson. But that isn't what happened. He already had it out for him. As soon as he got off the plane, he was like, listen, I'm not here for your crap. Take care of my daughter. Don't do this, or I'm going to put hands on you. And that's what he's been saying for the past 2 years. So I don't even know how they're all living in a house together, but I can see why Asuelo would be unhappy. So then cut to last week. Asuelo, of course, wants to go home. He's homesick. He's a baby. Let's go back to Kalani being 31 years old and he's 24. I don't know how that happened or what she thought was going to happen, but as we know, in America, a 24-year-old is pretty much is probably a 19-year-old man. So I don't even know. It seems like over in Samoa, from what he says, like he's even said to the dad, I go play. Like he was saying he goes to play volleyball after work, but it's like, you have 2 kids. And what do you mean you go play? Like so I don't know. She's already in her 30s, and she's got this young boy who she expected to come over and just all of a sudden, make this great living and take care of her and her kids, and that's not what happened. So they're dry. So he wants to go home to Samoa because he wants his family to, of course, meet his kids. He's homesick. I want to be around my people, and I completely understand that. But they're having a measles outbreak. and they have very young kids. So I understand why she would be, hesitant about going, because when you have young kids, like I said, and you're a mom, you are nuts, and they're having a measles outbreak that kills some kids. So he's saying, well, let's have our doctor here give them an early immunization. And the doctor says we could do that, but I kind of wouldn't recommend it. It's up to you guys, whatever. But like the first baby didn't have a good reaction to the measles immunization, so I don't know. Like she just didn't want to do it with the second one. Like why rush? Let's just wait till it's safe to go over there. And I understand that. But he threw a fit. And remember, I'm starting from his perspective. He's upset. So now Kalani's saying, well, instead of going to Samoa, let's go to California to again hang out with my family for the baby's 2-year-old. So they're going to be with her family to celebrate the 2-year-old's birthday. He's upset, obviously, because we couldn't go to Samoa, but we can go hang out again with your family. And supposedly the kids were sick, so he's like, okay, they would have got sick there, they're sick now, but they're okay enough to travel. Like, I just don't want to do this, or whatever. He's being a brat about it. And I understand because he's upset, but he's also being a kid about it. So they cut to Kalani's mother driving. Kalani's in the back seat in the beginning and he's in the front, and you see her like breastfeeding both kids at the same time, which is insane because I'm breastfeeding one right now and it is insane, and I'm trying to stop and I can't. Like, people do not know how much breastfeeding takes from a mother. It's the time, the effort, the sleep is not easy, and especially in a car seat. So she's like, she switches with him, and he goes in the back and he makes it seem like, oh look, because I'm here, poof, they're asleep, and this whole thing, and he starts talking about women in America are lazy, gets into it with the mother and Kalani. He calls her a lying bitch. He says, he's kind of going back and forth, and he is being, now I'm gonna hop to the other side, he is being very childish and disrespectful to Kalani and her mother, and they are both taken aback by it, and they both, they kind of, they confront him about it, but he is being completely disrespectful and it's uncalled for. And like the mother said, you would not say all this in front of my husband, Lo. So they get to the place, and then you see, I must have missed something, because you see him leaving the room, taking his bags, leaving the house they're staying in, going to like a city bus, saying I'm going with her, and he leaves, takes off his microphone and the cameras, whatever, and he leaves. But I didn't see when he came back, so I missed something. So apparently he came back, but he was in the room and didn't come out for the birthday party. So, Lo comes up to him and says, I don't really care about your feelings right now. It's about my grandson. You come out and you make this a good memory, experience for him, whatever. So we get to this week, and Lo tells him, come on, let's go walk the dog. Let's have a talk. So he already knows something's up. So he's asking, what happened last week? And the way that he's asking him seems like he really cares. Before, everything was so aggressive and so violent. Like, he would always threaten him with violence. I'm going to put hands on you, this whole thing, right? So I'm like, yes, like he's actually taking the time. He's putting in the effort to connect with this man, because he's here and he is having a hard time, so he's like, tell me what happened, and he's really genuinely listening. And Asuelo's like, and the way that he says it is as if he is like a 6-year-old. Like, when something happens that wasn't supposed to happen, and your mother comes in to scold you, and you're like, well, first he said this, and then I said this, and then he said this, and because he was just so honest, and he was just like diarrhea of the mouth. Your wife said this, and I didn't talk to her correctly, and I cursed at her, and I told her that women are lazy, and I didn't know how to express this to her, and this whole thing. And it's almost like he just poured himself out to him, and hoping that maybe he would try to kind of meet him in the middle. So he did start saying, he said, listen, I can't express myself. I don't know how to, he said, I don't know how to talk to your wife. And then in the end, he said, I don't know how to, when Lo asked him to apologize to his daughter, he said, I don't know how to talk to her. I don't know how to express myself to her because there's a language barrier. And when I try to say what I'm saying in English, it doesn't make sense. And so, and the whole time I'm thinking, Lo, knows his native language? Why has he never just sat down with him and allowed this man to speak freely? I know that the cameras ask you to speak in English so we can understand, but there should have been a time where he just sat and just said, you know, speaking, you spoke with him in the native language so he can really understand where this guy is coming from and what he's trying to say, or even translate for his wife and daughter or whatever it is, because he can't get his thoughts together. It doesn't come out the way he wants it to. He says it comes out a mess when I try to say it in English. So I would think that Lo would say, listen, I can help you with this. So, you know, he's kind of, and then Lo was kind of trying to connect with him and say, listen, I don't want you arguing in front of the kids, because, you know, we both know growing up, we saw that with our parents, and that wasn't a good thing. So I'm like, yes, great, good, you know, give him some guidance. And then all of a sudden it turns to, because, and this is like, this is so weird, because the conversation is so low key and it's so, they're looking in each other's eyes and thinking they're connecting, and then he's just like, because I don't want to have to put hands on you. I don't want it to have to get violent. Why is it that we're jumping from him opening up to you and you kind of guiding him to you getting violent? Why is that the answer to this problem? It isn't the answer to anything. And why is it the only way that you know how to solve this problem? I just thought it was so weird that he would even say, because I don't want to have to put hands on you and hurt you and it's going to get violent. And then it was weird because Aswad was like, yeah, you're right. Okay, I'm gonna be better. And then he's like, all right, let's go. And then they walk off like they're friends. Like, I'm like, this is just so weird, but whatever. That's Lo and Kalani and Asuelu. And I still also, I didn't talk about Kalani. I feel for her as well, because honestly, I don't know what her expectations were of him to bring him over here, and he did not have any, you know, the skill to really be able to support her in America. Like he says, when I was back home, you know, we just did this or whatever. He worked on the farm, whatever it was. He doesn't have the skill. What does she expect him to do? You brought him over here. I think he came over here. The only reason he would want to stay is for his kids, because I don't think he's that into her anymore. I know he doesn't like America. I know he doesn't like living with her family. So I don't know what was the expectation, or maybe it was she was just like, oh, I'm getting older. I want to, you know, I'm pregnant, I want to settle down with somebody, let me just make this picture, because it didn't work out for her. So I do feel bad for her as well, because it sucks. And for her to have to really, he's not really helping out with the kids either, because in his eyes, from his country, the women deal with the kids, the men don't really, and everything is easy for them. So she's doing most of the work with the kids, and that is hard as hell. It's not easy. So I do feel for her as well. And the last couple is, oh no, I had two more, but I'm not going to talk too much, or I'm not going to talk too much about Syngin and Tanya. You know, Syngin and Tanya, they've been going back and forth, because, you know, Syngin is, he seems to be like a nomad. Like, he just likes to travel. He likes to live a very free life where he can just pick up a bag and go. This is what he said to her last week, and it kind of scared her, because she's like, I married you to get you over here so we can settle down and have kids. And he has said a few times, like, I might not want to stay in America. I might not want kids that early. I might not want to be locked down here. And so that's what they're going back and forth about. So this episode, he finds out that his brother is sick, and she's supportive. You know, he says, I want to go back and be with my family right now. And she says, if it was me, I would do the same thing. So let's just make it happen. So, you know, that was good for her. But, you know, he seems like the kind of guy that did not want to settle. He said that a few times. I'm not trying to do that, you know, anytime soon. And she's been kind of pushed it on him, and he has said we would not be married if it wasn't for the 90-day time limit, because I would have liked to have more time, and they did anyway. So it's like he, you know, they're kind of stuck, but it seems like he doesn't feel stuck. It seems like if he feels like this isn't going to work, he's going to be out. And I feel bad, because it's not the picture she had in her head, but the whole relationship was a hot mess anyway, because she spent 30 days in another country during his 90 days here and left him in a shed with her mother, which was a hot mess. So it already feels like she didn't really respect him in a way, and didn't really value him or the relationship. And she did that for no reason, because now she's a bartender, and so whatever herbalist classes she was taking in Costa Rica, she's not doing anything with those right now anyway. So whatever, we'll see what happens with them, but you know, we'll see. The lastly, I have Angela and Michael. You know, they show she's going to Nigeria now to marry him in Nigeria. She has 6 of her grandkids living in her house with her daughter, maybe 1 or 2 daughters. Her mother, who is ailing very seriously. She's just not in good condition at all. And I think Angela's aware that my mother might not be around for a few more weeks, but I still want to go to Nigeria and marry Michael. That's an interesting decision for her to make because to me the mother is not doing well at all. Um, but she goes out to Nigeria. She buys him some suits. He's dancing. It's like he is so excited, like he hasn't had suits in a long time. Um, he decides to, I think, I don't know. He said something about he was meeting up with he met with his friend Dawa and a few expats. And he was asking them what it would be like to live in America, specifically Georgia, where Angela is trying to bring him. And I understand where he's coming from because you want to know where you're going. And especially, they're telling him, especially as a black man, they're telling him that in certain places in Georgia, it may not be safe for you. They're still racist. This is how they treat us. So it is important before you do make a, you go to a whole different continent to find out where you're going. And of course, if you ask Angela, she's going to tell you whatever just to get you there. And also she's a white woman, so she's not going to be dealing with what black people are dealing with in that state. So he had asked, some folks who have a dual citizenship between Nigeria and the U.S., and they were telling him these things. So I guess he decided, let me bring Angela so that she can meet them and, kind of maybe possibly convince her to move to Nigeria, whatever the case is. I don't know what he was thinking. He knows this woman is so insecure. She doesn't even want him to have a different ringtone for anybody in her phone. So he brings her to a dinner saying my friend Dawa was going to be there, but the three girls are already there and Dawa didn't arrive yet. And so Angela sits down for a hot second, stands up, and she actually shakes their hand and she says, thank you very much, but I'm leaving. And she leaves and goes crazy on him. And because they were younger, pretty girls that Michael could possibly be attracted to, and she cannot deal with that because she knows that, these young girls have everything on her. She has nothing on them. They're his age, they're beautiful, they are, able to bear children, like everything that she is insecure about, that's what they have. So why would she want to sit there and talk shop with them? And so her whole thing is, why do I need people who are from America to tell me about America? Like, if I'm your girl, you ask me. You know what I mean? I don't need anybody else telling you how it's going to be living with me. This doesn't make any sense. She freaks out. And then while she's having this freak out in the car, Skylar calls and says, listen, Mom, Grandma's out of her mind. And she's kind of telling Skylar, that's dementia setting in. Because Grandma, I think she has cancer. She has a few things going on. And that's hard. And how she's dealing with that in a different continent. And because Angela is a caretaker. And, I went from, in the very beginning, I liked Angela. I thought she was very happy and the whole thing. And then I saw the whole Jerry Springer Angela, and I really couldn't stand her. And then when I see her being a caretaker to her 6 grandkids and her mom, and just really having she really does have a huge heart. It does make her endearing. And then also when I saw baby girl Lisa from the other season, I realized I really don't like baby girl Lisa, and I do like Angela better because to me at least she is open to learning about Michael's culture. She was very nice and respectful to his family, which baby girl Lisa was not. And she was just very open to becoming a part of their family and being respectful. So I do think she has a big heart, and so I like that about Angela. I don't like all the yelling and all the drama that she's trying to bring to the show, but whatever, people like it, so they keep her around. So I don't know how she is gonna deal with that. I don't know how it's gonna end up. I hope she does get home to her mother in time, because that's hard. And I think that's all the notes I have on this show. So I'm going to, because I've kept you long enough, I am going to say goodnight, drink my iced tea, and hope that you like and subscribe to this channel and you join me again for the Reality with Tea.